Hi, I'm Dr. Benji Blair. I'm the chair of the Pre-Health Professional Committee here at Jacksonville State University. We have so many students come in that want to go into some area of medicine. So since I'm the chair of the Pre-Health Professional Committee, I thought we would put together a video so that the students can watch it, maybe you, and then after you've seen the video, you can then come to me and ask questions, and I'm not having to repeat myself 100 times over. Now, we have a lot of information that's available on our website, and there are other websites that have really good information on what you need to know. But as a pre-health professional advisor, I'm advising pre-med, both MD and DO. I'm advising pre-optometry, dentistry, physical therapy, surgical physician's assistant. So you can see there's a lot of different areas, and each one of those programs is slightly different. So it's up to you to go to the websites of the places you would like to transfer to and double check that you're taking all of the right things that they accept. Because what we require here for our biology degree might be slightly different than what you would need for a degree at an MD program, for admission into the MD program. Now, also on our biology website, you'll see a checkoff sheet that looks something like this. You can download it before you watch this video and just follow through with me. The checkoff sheet is just a quick guide to let us know that you're taking all the right courses and you take the right tests at the right time. What I highly recommend is for those of you that are incoming freshmen, if you are qualified to take an algebra course, for you to start your biologies and your chemistries as soon as you possibly can. The reason for that is you don't want to back yourself into a corner. You want to get into those biologies and chemistries and save some of the easier electives. I won't mention them because some of the other departments may be watching, but save something that you consider to be easier back for when you're a junior and a senior and you're having to take organic chemistry and upper level physics and upper level biology. Alright, so if you're transferring in and you've taken all of your easier core courses, you can still do it, but it may make it a little more difficult to get through all of the science courses, because science classes have laboratories that are associated with them, and sometimes it's harder to schedule a bunch of lab classes. So again, start your biologies and your chemistries early. You've got to have the 2 freshman biology before you can move on to the core biology courses, which are here at JSU include cell, genetics, and ecology. Now, the other areas that you will need to be worrying about is what do you need to do to get into a medical school program? We always get questions on what's the percentage of students you have getting into the programs. Well, our percentages are pretty good of the students that complete our degree program and apply to the medical schools and pharmacies and things like that. So our numbers are really good, but it's hard to nail down because the students don't always have to tell me, they were accepted, and a lot of them drop out. Typically, any university will lose about half of their pre-med students each year. So if you have 100 students coming in the freshman year, then you'll have 50 in the sophomore, then 25 in the junior, and about 12 or 13 in the senior year that will actually make it through the program, apply, and get accepted into those programs. We had probably 8 to 12 students get accepted into pharmacy this last semester. We have a number getting accepted into MD and DO programs. So the numbers are good, but I always like to say that you are the student, you get yourself into the schools. You get accepted by your work. So it's a long, hard road, and there are a lot of tough classes that you need to take. But now, you need to make sure you're taking all your prerequisites for whatever program you're looking at. You need to make sure you have good grades. Generally speaking, a minimum GPA of a 3.2 or higher just to get an interview. The closer you get to 4.0 GPA, the better chance you have of getting accepted into the program you want to get into. But 3.2 is about the minimum to get an interview. If you score below that, you're probably not even going to get an interview at most programs. You're going to need good letters of recommendation. Now, a lot of the school programs now are requiring something called a composite letter. So if you're my advisee, then as you take classes in history or English or speech or whatever, when you finish the course, ask that instructor to send me a letter of recommendation for you. And that's only if you're my advisee. We've got 300 majors in the department that are pre-professional, so you may be assigned to a different advisor. So if you have Dr. Mead, have the letter sent to Dr. Mead. What we do is we start a file folder on you as soon as we get our first letter, and we keep that file folder. And then at the end, we write a paragraph or two about you, and then we say that we have received over 10 letters of recommendation from across campus about you. And then we put select quotes from each of those letters on the bottom part, and that's signed by a committee. So a lot of programs now are wanting you to have that type of committee letter rather than getting multiple letters from the university. So don't wait until people have forgotten who you are before you ask them for a letter. Ask them as soon as you've completed the course and you did well in it. Also, if you don't score at least a C or better, don't ask them for a letter of recommendation, preferably an A or a B. Let's see, you'll need some shadowing experiences. Shadowing means you're following around a professional, either a doctor or pharmacist or veterinarian, depending on what you want to go into, and you get some practical experience following them around. Different programs require different amounts of shadowing experience. So most of them you can go with 100 hours of experience, and that's enough. But if you're talking about veterinarian medicine, they require a lot more. So you need to check into that with the schools you plan on transferring to. You need to also have good interview skills, and that's something we can do to help you out. We want to give you an opportunity to have a mock interview. That's where a panel of professors will sit around, will bring you in, and will interview you just like they do at a medical school program, so that maybe it can calm some of your nerves down a little bit before you go for the actual interview. You need good scores on the professional exam. If you're going to med school, it's the GRE. If you're going into optometry, it's the OAT, etc. So what we recommend is that you get the book or the computer program from the company that writes the exam, and you take as many full practice tests as you possibly can. Let me say that again. You need to take as many full timed practice exams as you possibly can. These tests are weird. You're not going to do well on them just walking in and taking the exam. You've got to get your timing down. You've got to understand what to expect from each section. So please do yourself a favor and study for the exams as much as possible. Now, you've got to understand, put yourself in the shoes of the person who's having to evaluate your application. They're evaluating 100 of these packets at one time. They're going to look at them and they're going to go, okay, if they don't have the GPA, I'm not even going to consider them. If they don't have the minimum cutoff score for their professional exam, I'm not going to consider them, because I don't have to read all that. Then I'm going to look for your letter of intent. You have to write a letter of why I want to be a doctor or an optometrist or a dentist. That's key. You've got to have that letter's got to be perfect, because if I saw one that's got a typographical error or grammatical error, it goes in the don't even consider pile. Now, everybody that's left has got all of the criteria. They've got the minimum scores. They've got good letters of recommendation. They've got a good letter of intent. They've got all of their things lined up, all their ducks in a row. So what's going to make you stand out? What's going to make you different from everybody else in that pile? A lot of people do things like charity work. They work for an AIDS clinic, or they join the Peace Corps, or they've done other extracurricular activities. Some people even do some of the work they've done. They've worked as an RN, or they've worked as an ambulance driver, or an EMT of some sort. Those things can help. Military experience can always help you out. But what we can do here at JSU is offer you the opportunity to do undergraduate research. So you talk to people in the department, other professors. You find somebody that's doing something that interests you. Okay, so it's got to be interesting to you for you to do the research with them. And then you take the opportunity to get in the lab and work your tail off to try to get presentations that you can present at regional or state or international meetings, whatever, national. You want to get as much experience and as many things as you can tick off on your resume, that'll help you. That'll make you look better to the professional school. And if at all possible, try to get a publication out of it. If you can get a publication, that makes you stand out above everybody else in the pile that's left. Because you've done research, but you carried it all the way to the end game. You got a publication out of it. And that's not easy to do and do everything else you're going to have to do there. We have some nice facilities here. We have scanning electron microscopes, RT-PCR machines. We have NMR machines in the chemistry department. So find somebody that's doing something that interests you. It does not have to be medically related. So it could be fungus growing on cow patties in Ohatchee, Alabama. We've had somebody do that, and they got accepted into Emory University. Talk to other students, find out who they think is good to work with. Get involved. That's going to be one of your best bets. Now, on to the application process for just a minute, and that is you need to apply the first day you possibly can to whatever program is out there. That means you need to start a month or 2 months in advance trying to collect all your letters and get everything lined up so that you can hit that go button the first chance you get. Some programs start interviewing the minute they start taking applications. So if there's 100 seats and you wait 2 weeks to start getting your application in, some of those seats will be missing. They will have already offered seats to people. So you want to be the first one to submit your application. You don't want to wait to the last minute. For letters of recommendation, don't ask me for a letter of recommendation unless you give me at least 2 weeks notice. That goes for anybody. It's just rude to ask for a letter of recommendation and you need it in 2 days. We've got other things going on, so we don't always have time to write one at such short notice, but we'll squeeze it in within 2 weeks. Let's see, what else? How many hours should you be taking every semester? There's probably 15 to 17 hours per semester if you want to get through in 4 years. And you might could take a class or two during the summer and alter it a little bit, but that's going to be about it. Now, one last thing while I'm thinking about it. There are alternative programs. If you don't get into an MD program, well, look into DO. DO is Doctor of Osteopathic Medicine. And they are kind of like they won't like me saying this, but I consider them to be like a cross between a chiropractor and an MD. They can do the same internships, they can get the same types of jobs and do any kind of medicine that they want. But there are a lot more of those programs available so your chances of getting accepted into one of those programs right now is a little bit easier. So consider DO, look into it and see what the philosophy is. You may like the philosophy of the osteopathic doctors more than you like the MD, or vice versa. So you've got to find what's right for you. I recommend living like a student while you're a student. Don't live extravagantly. Getting to pay for some of this stuff is going to be tough. But look into alternative programs. We have AMEC, Alabama Medical Education Consortium. If you're a freshman student, you need to look into that because you can get accepted into a DO program early. We have a deal going with them where you can get accepted early. Your 4th year of school here will actually be your 1st year of medical school there. So you'll get a BA degree from JSU while you're getting your 1st year of medical school completed. Then there are rural medical scholars programs. There's several of them in the state. You need to look into those. There are still a few minority programs out there that will help minority students. But every school has things, so you really need to spend a little time looking over those options. What would I recommend you to take? I recommend you to take biologies and chemistries to begin, and then go ahead and start moving into your upper level biology courses, genetics, cell ecology. Other recommended courses would be immunology, microbiology, histology, that sort of thing. Now, what are you going to minor in? Most people minor in chemistry if they get a biology degree. Do you have to have a biology or chemistry degree to get accepted? No, they'll accept people with a history degree. But they still have to take the prerequisites, which include a lot of biologies and chemistries. So what you need for a chemistry minor would be 2 classes above what's already required. So we already require you to take all the way through organic chemistry. If you take 2 biochems, you're finished. And since you have to have biochemistry once you get into medical school, it just helps you out by going ahead and having that done. If you minor in anything else, it's probably 4 or 5 more classes above what's required. That's going to be about it for this video clip. But I want you to think about it, and if you have questions, you're welcome to contact me or any of the pre-health professional advisors here at JSU. Look over our website. We have a lot of good information there, and I appreciate it. I hope you come to JSU.